Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about the categories of type or typography, or the types of type. Now, there are 4 different types or categories of type. You have serifs, sans serifs, script, and display. Serifs, like the typeface you see here, include a slight projection finishing off the strokes of its letter forms called serifs. So if we look at the bottom, for example, here of this P, notice how it has these little feet on the bottom. Those are called serifs. Serifs are also what we can see up here at the top of the T, the bottom of the N, the I, the H. So anytime you see a typeface that has a little foot either on the top or the bottom, you're looking at a serif. This typeface here is called Inknut Antiqua Light. Now, sans serifs are typefaces that do not include any projections at the end of its strokes of its letter forms. So if we look at this sans serif typeface here called Rubik Light, we see that there are no little feet at the bottoms of the R or the M or the T, things like this. So if we go back, notice how we have these little feet at the bottom of the R. And if we go back here and we look at this R, notice how it's just a straight bar here. Now, if we compare these side by side, we can see exactly what I was talking about. You have a serif on the left, and then you have a sans serif on the right. The way to think about sans serifs are sans meaning without, and then serif meaning serif. Or you could think of it like without feet. Now, another type here that we can look at are called script. Script typefaces are based on the fluid strokes of handwriting and can range from formal to very casual. They're suitable for display use. So when we think about script typeface, this isn't the type of typeface you generally want to have large bodies of copy or words because it just doesn't make sense. Think about how difficult it might be for your English teacher to read a 2-page paper written all in a script. It'd be rather difficult to read. Same with decorative fonts. Now, decorative fonts can be pretty cool. Now, this is the largest category and also the most diverse categories of typography. They're rarely used for blocks of text. Decorative typefaces are popular for signage, headlines, and similar situations where a strong typographic statement is desired. The typeface that we're looking at here is called Ewart. Something I want to point out here is decorative typefaces can look really cool in short words. So if you're looking at just one word, maybe it looks really great, it's easy to read, but the more you start adding large sections of text or body copy, similarly to script typefaces, it can become really difficult to read. Now, there's something important to think about here, which is the difference between typefaces and fonts. Now, you've probably heard of a font before, and maybe you've heard of a typeface. But to know that there's a difference between the two is what we're going to talk about today. A typeface is a particular design of type. For example, I am Rubik, and I am a typeface. I am Inknut Antiqua, and I am another typeface, different from Rubik. And I am Space Mono, and I am another typeface. So when we look at what these are saying, they're written in different typefaces. But notice how when it says I'm Rubik and I am a typeface, we're talking about the name or the family of the typeface of Rubik. Now, Inknut is a different typeface. Inknut is the family, right? So when we think about a font becomes very specific. So when we look at Space Mono is the typeface. Now, if we were to go over here, now, a font is a particular size, weight, or style of a typeface. So some examples of Rubik, for example, would be Rubik Regular 12 would be an example of a font because it's a very specific version of Rubik, the typeface. Now, Rubik Regular and Rubik Bold, once you see descriptions of different types of typography, that's when we start getting into fonts. So notice how these all start with Rubik because that's the typeface. And then the font is where we get regular or bold or light or italic or even just different sizes of that. So Rubik Regular 12-point font is a font. But if you were just to talk about Rubik as a typeface as a whole, then you're dealing with the typeface. So I want you to spend a second and just take a look at these here. I've listed different types of type below. I want you to pause the video here for a moment, and I want you to try and guess which one is which. Is Arial a serif or sans serif? Is Ewart a display, serif, or script font? Is Georgia a serif or a sans serif? And is Lobster a script font, a display font, a serif, or a sans serif? Now, if we go back to the top and we look at Arial, notice how Arial doesn't have any feet. Therefore, it would be a sans serif, or without feet. Ewart, again, it looks like it's dressed up for the big party or like the cowboy party, so it's going to be more of a display font. Georgia, if we notice it has those little feet at the bottom of the R and the I, Georgia is going to be a serif. And if we look at 4, Lobster typeface is a script font.